Oh, hey everyone. I just got out of the shower. As you can see, our house is a little messy today. I am Cody from Team CK. Um, we are still recovering from COVID, so we are trying to keep everything as organized as humanly possible, but life on life's terms, right? So, let me introduce myself. My name is Cody. Uh, I am one of two members of Team CK. We are a group of poly scientists. We have multiple experiences in different fields, ranging from artificial intelligence, psychology, quantum research. I've done some medical research, statistics, mathematics, and my counterpart has worked in marine biology and has done environmental sciences. So, those are the backgrounds of us. And the reason I'm making this video today is to talk a little bit about integrating AI into our lives safely. Um, Here's my little tea. It's a little environmental tea. Good for COVID. Um, but as a social scientist, my first skill set was that of a mental health professional. So I have a couple of degrees in the social sciences. That's Lucy. And so I'm very well aware of human factors and how humans are influenced, how they change, not only from kind of a psychological construct level, but from a neurological level, how we become wired to do, believe, think, act in certain ways. Um, and then combine that with my kind of frontline research on artificial intelligence, and where I currently work. So I have a good purview of what's out there, what's coming, and what it's going to look like. Um, and as a result of these two hats, I think I have a strong perspective on the impact that it's going to have, not only globally but on the individuals as well at an individual level. So that's why I'm ranting here tonight. I'm doing that because I think it's important. It's important for us to be aware of the new technologies that we're integrating. It's overhyped at this point, where everybody knows what it is. Um, AI. It's been coming for the past 10 years, and it's now integrating into our lives and runs things like Tesla and the very algorithm that led you to this live stream. It even helped generate the thumbnail for this live stream as well. So multiple touch points of AI just in you clicking on this link. So that's kind of the depth and scale of where it's at right now in our lives. It's everywhere. Um, let's talk about the impact, right? So data science as a whole, I mean, as a concept, relatively new in the modern concept, but acquiring large amounts of data and using it to categorize, classify, predict, that's been around for a long time. Basic statistics and mathematics, regression, things like that. Those have been around for hundreds of years. Some techniques, thousands. It really wasn't until the turn of the century, specifically World War One, where uh, data science really kind of took off as a tool that we use in any modern form, for categorization and larger analyses. And I'd say it took the form of psychological assessments for soldiers. So the UK Army, during the British Army during World War One, was reporting incidences of shell shock at about 15% of their forces that were deployed. So 15 out of every 100 were coming back with what they then called shell shock. Today we know that as PTSD. And this was a problem that they wanted to have more understanding of, more control of, and they needed a screening test to kind of filter out those who would be more predisposed to shell shock or PTSD. So they created an assessment tool in an attempt to do that. And that's kind of the origins of the MMPI, the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory that social scientists use today. This tool, it's was unique in the fact that it eventually morphed into a series of binary questions. Now there's like 500, 550, something like that on the MMPI-2 something, or 3. I'm not sure if the third one's out yet. But essentially, it helps you classify people and archetypes of people based on how they respond. And they do that by norming it against people who they've already labeled in that category. So the depression index has been normed for people who are depressed. So when you answer questions, if you answer questions similarly to those who are depressed, the MMPI might come back and suggest that you could be depressed, right? That's how it works. And they've done this iteratively, and redefined it and refined it over the course of generations, tens of thousands of people and data. And it's one of the most studied psychometric tests of all time, and one of the most commonly used. And it can score just a whole host of things, from personality components to potential psychological concerns, depression, anxiety, other diagnoses, alcoholism, all sorts of stuff, right? So that's a tool that was historically developed by researchers for research purposes in a clinical setting. Okay. And as you can imagine, these tools are pretty invasive. They're very good, they're very refined, and when you administer them to people, it can be a little jarring at how accurate they are in predicting what's going on. And they have all sorts of validity and reliability checks built into them. So we know that it's an effective tool for measurement if indeed all those things come back normal once it's scored. And I say all this history because now, today, these types of tools and many others are now in the hands of corporations. They're sometimes in the hands of the average user. The level of analytical capability that, say, the YouTube algorithm has is, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of times more intricate than that of the MMPI-2 assessment. The breadth and scope of the analytical capability that we have now is almost daunting when you think of us doing it by hand 20, 30 years ago. And now the role of responsibility of these skills and analytical tools has shifted. So it's no longer in the hands of trained specialists who have an ethical code of standards. So if you are using these tools, you subscribe to one of the licensures that are required to utilize them and have access to these tools, psychometric evaluations and whatnot. And you have a certain code of ethics that you follow. And there's guidelines on how to use them. And there's IRB panels for research purposes and the set of checks and balances. That is not the case when we employ tools like this in a corporate setting, or it's just not. So you can see how that would bring up implications of concern, right? So the tools that were used primarily by researchers and practitioners who have codes of ethics, those tools and skills have now been opened up to the public and to corporations in a way that's never been done before. And with it has come absolutely amazing things like the platform we are using now. But it also opens us up to all the hazards that kind of come with unchecked resources and capabilities. So that's the number one thing I wanted to communicate through this, is that as an individual, you need to inform yourself and keep yourself aware of how these tools work, how they're working in your lives, what they do, what's the history of them, and who's using them, right? What's the intent of using them? Um, that's a big, a big question to ask, is if AI is being used here, what is its purpose, right? So is its purpose to um, extract information about me? If so, if it's about to learn about me, if so, what are you going to do with that knowledge? And then who has the ability to see that data and use it? That's the biggest, I suppose, ethical concern that I have as a uh, machine learning researcher who's also very psychologically and neurologically informed. Um, so I would say get out there, inform yourself about the modern uses, watch some YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, and do a very basic amount of due diligence as to understand how these tools are integrated into your life, and where you can choose to have them not be a part of your life as well. So if you're considering bringing them into your home, um, whether it's Alexa or even Siri on your phone, or a whole slew of new tools that will be coming out. In the next couple of years, you are definitely going to see, the little AI robots and assistants that are going to be much more advanced. They're going to be able to help you with scheduling and all sorts of stuff. It's just where the market is going. So as you integrate these into your lives, make smart choices about where you allow them to interact, how you want to share your data, right? You got to read some of that fine print, and you have to, be responsible for either saying no or yes to whether or not they can use them. Um, that's it. I'm going to slow down right there. It's a lot to digest all at once. But please stay safe, be conscientious, do your homework, and let's keep the human in the loop.